Once a devotee asked Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi, why are these so many methods mentioned? For instance, Ram Krishna Paramhansa says that bhakti is the best means for mukti. Bhagwan said, it is according to the standpoint of the aspirant. Krishna begins by saying in the Bhagavad Gita, never was there a time when I did not exist, or thou nor these kings of men. Never will there be a time hereafter when any of us shall cease to be, because that which is unreal never exists. The unreal never is, the real never is not. All that ever was, even now is, and will ever be. Later on, Krishna continued, I taught this truth to Vivasvat. He taught it to Manu, etc. Arjuna asked, how can it be? Your birth was later than theirs. Then Krishna answered, many a birth have I passed through, O Arjuna, and so hast thou. I know them all, but thou knowest not thine. I tell you that what happened in those past births. Look, that Krishna who began by saying, there was not I, nor were thou, nor these kings, says now that he had several births before. Krishna doesn't contradict himself, though it looks so. He conforms to the outlook of Arjuna and speak to him from his level. There is a parallel passage in the Bible where Jesus says that he had taught the truth to Abraham and Abraham to Moses, and so on. The teachings of the sages are suited to the time, place, and other surroundings. When a man surrenders himself as a slave to the divine Lord, he realizes at the end that all his actions are the actions of God. He loses his mindness. This is what is meant by doing the will of God. This is Siddhanta, the final view, the settled conclusion. When a man realizes that he has lost his ahankara, I-ness, and that he is not different from Ishvara, he is a Jnani. This is Vedanta, but see, the goal is the same. There are two ways open to one, Bhakti and Jnana. A Bhakta surrenders to God and rests secure in His protection. A Jnani knows that there is nothing beside the self and so remains happy. One must adhere firmly to either of these courses. This path is the highest of all and suited only for advanced aspirants. Those who follow the other paths are not ripe for this until they become advanced on their own paths. Thus, it is really by the grace, whether Guru, Self, etc., that they are brought to this highest path. Of course, they might have practiced the other paths in former existences and thus were born ripe for this one. Others try the other ways and after progressing finally turn to self-inquiry. But the last lapse of all paths are the same, surrender of the ego. This is the only direct path. The other methods will also ultimately lead everyone to this method of the investigation of the self. The other methods are meant for those who cannot take to the investigation of the self. Devotee asked, what kind of teaching is suitable to young men? Will they understand the naked truth? Bhagwan said their attention might be drawn to the truth from time to time in an appropriate manner. Devotee asked, what does Maharishi say about Hatha Yoga or Tantric practices? Then Maharishi said, doesn't practice criticize any of the extant methods. All are good for the purification of the mind, because the purified mind alone is capable of grasping this method and sticking to its practice. Devotee asked, which is the best of the different yogas? Bhagwan said, all other paths are for those who are incapable of self-inquiry. They also lead you ultimately to vichara. Devotee asked, why is Atma Vichara necessary? Bhagwan said, if you do not make Atma Vichara, then Loka Vichara, inquiry into the world, creeps in. That which is not seen is sought, but not that which is obvious. When once you have found what you seek for, inquiry also ceases and you rest in it. Devotee asked, what meditation will help me? Bhagwan said, no meditation on an object is helpful for this reason. You must learn to realize the subject and object as one, and in the meditating on an object, whether concrete or abstract, you are destroying that senses of oneness and creating duality. Meditate only the self. Try to realize that the body is not you, the emotions are not you, the intellect is not you. When all these are stilled, you will find something else is there. Hold it, that it will reveal itself. But devotee asked, but when I have stilled all, I almost fall asleep. Bhagwan said, that doesn't matter. Put yourself into the condition as deep as sleep and then watch. Be asleep consciously, then there is only the one consciousness. Devotee asked, is yoga a good method of approach? Bhagwan said, in the end, there is only one approach to the goal, and that is through the realization of the self. So why waste time on other roads, which at the best will only lead on to the final path? Better to be on the final path itself all the time than on an auxiliary road. Meditate on what the self is, that is all. There is nothing else but find the answer to that. See the self in all, act spontaneously, so to speak, and let it be present, and it always will be available. Do not look to results. Do what is right and leave it. Hari Om Tat Sat.